Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
In 1864, the Congress of the United States of America approved adding "In God We Trust" to the 2-cent coin. In 1908, legislation was passed, and "In God We Trust" was mandatory on all coins. In 1955, "In God We Trust" became mandatory on all U.S. coins and paper currency. And in 1956, "In God We Trust" became the national motto of the United States of America. And I pray it stays that way. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God Bless America, followed by a pledger with our National Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much, Kate Smith. I love the song. I love the lady's voice. God bless America. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and our major sponsor, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And some of our great advertisers are also like Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service, get rid of your garbage, and call them at 734-6969. Very dependable young lady that has done a great job for our program. Good morning, Gina.
Good morning, sunshine, and how are you?
A little cloudy this morning, but, I told you why, and we certainly are hoping the rest of the day gets a little better.
I think it shall. Just pray that it does.
Yes, and do we have a pledger?
We have Mr. Jerry Voss on for the pledge.
Wonderful. Jerry, good morning. The pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done, my dear friend. Thank you for calling in, Jerry. We appreciate it. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Voss, just a super nice guy with our pledge. And right now, we're going to take a look at the weather forecast. And it's brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. They've got some great ideas for redecorating your house for the holidays. I know yesterday a lady called me after the program and she said, whoa, wait a minute. Aren't you getting a little early saying the holidays? And I said, well, think about it. Here we are mid-September, and Thanksgiving just not that far away, Christmas not that far away, and if you're going to do any work, you better get it done. She says, yeah, I guess you're right. All right, well, they've got great ideas, and new decor items coming in every day at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Wonderful people also with the do-it-yourself workshops. You call them, 678-6945, Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for their blue door, and here is the weather.
Well, it's going to be a pretty nice day as we hit midweek. Partly cloudy skies for today. High of 93. Going to be a little bit breezy. Winds out of the southwest right around 7 miles an hour. Tonight, expect a low near 60. Now, tomorrow, winds going to be picking up to about 11 miles an hour. Partly cloudy, cooling down to about 82 with an overnight low near 55. Friday, pretty much the same, 82 with an overnight low near 52. And for Saturday, Everybody better be at the Rupert Square looking at sunny skies, high of 83. At 53 here at the KBAR studio.
God bless you. That's an excellent forecast. Thank you very much. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. The sponsors of our weather this hour. Look for their blue door. Nice people. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What is the plan to get ISIL, I don't care what you want to call these vermin, these terrorist Muslim killers. I will stick with ISIS. You know what? Really, I don't want to know what the plan is. I don't want the president and his cabinet and his generals telling everybody what they're going to do. I don't want them to give any clues or tips to ISIS. I think every American should demand that our government just get it done by any means necessary. Now, the military yesterday, as you probably heard, they came out and there were various leaks, there were various interviews, there were various questions in front of the hearings, etc., about boots on the ground. Many of the generals, many of the military have said, we can't do this offensive to contain and get rid of ISIS without boots on the ground. But Obama, ignoring the advice of generals, and this is where I want you to comment. This is the key to this story here this morning, our lead story. Obama, ignoring the advice of generals that know the situation, that know military, that know the region, that know the enemy, that know their weaponry. Obama is going to go around them, and he is giving the military strategy. Wait a minute, stop the bus for a minute. Here is a guy that has done nothing more than be a community organizer. And we have people that are experts in their field. They know what they should do. They know how to contain the enemy and eradicate the enemy. They know because they've been there on the battlefield. They know the strategies. And we have a commander-in-chief that absolutely is a buffoon. I'm just going to say a buffoon when it comes to knowing any kind of strategy, override them and come up with strategies of his own. Please. This is not grade school. This is not make a military strategy 101. This is real life and death. And this president superseding the generals that know and their knowledge, yes, I am very concerned. Yes, I am worried for this country. Yes, I am worried for our safety. You should be too. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I just cringed last night when I listened to the news and was taking notes about what was done, what hasn't been done, what has been basically overridden with Obama saying, well, we're going to do this, and not listening to the generals that know on-the-ground tactics. Unbelievable. Your thoughts, please give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Yes, it's still hats off to farmers. Ramsey salutes agriculture. Ramsey's appreciates farmers and all that they do. Stop in, get a bag of popcorn, get a free hat, and have a Coke, and get your order, and get back to the field. You got a lot of work to do. Well, I'll tell you what, they really appreciate you. And for all your electrical needs, all your rubber cord and your fuses, everything is right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Also, our thanks go to Valley White Home and Ranch. Hello, Mandy. Hello, everybody over there. They've got all the doggy kennels. By the way, I want to mention to you, we've got to start getting prepared for the colder weather, and they've got the dog kennels for you, and they've got everything you need for the cold weather, all the warm jackets and the vests and the hats and the gloves and the overshoes. They've got it all for you over there. They've got a great clothing line over there at Valley White Home and Ranch. And boots, lots and lots of boots. Let me just tell you, whether you need feed for your livestock all the way to boots for you, you stop into Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. They are waiting to serve you right this minute. Valley White Home and Ranch. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I've been watching this stuff going on, and I tell you, it just goes clear back to, I'm going to say it again, Korea, when they fired MacArthur because he wanted to go kill Snake. And Mr. Truman fired MacArthur because of that. Patton was held at bay there at the Berlin Wall because he wanted to take Berlin completely, and they said, no, wait for the Russians. It's been going on and on and on. Korea, our hands were tied. We're still in an amnesty. They haven't had a ceasefire.
Yeah.
Vietnam, our hands were tied. Over in Desert Storm, our hands were tied. We only took back a certain amount of property. And Iraq and all that stuff's the same thing. Everything is, well, let's do what little bit we can and don't worry about it.
Why should we, let me ask you a question right there, Al, and you've served in our military, but why should we endanger and put into harm's way the lives of men and women in our military if we're not going to go in with an all-out thrust to win?
That's what I've always said. If you're going to go in there and fight, take the damn gloves off, put a bullet in that gun, and do what it's designed to do, and take that enemy out. Don't let them sit there and regroup across the line. Go in and wipe it out.
But now, go back to the original concept that I started a couple of minutes ago. Where in the world can a man that has never done anything, he's never been anywhere, he's never been involved in strategy, etc., a community organizer, how can he supersede the general's ability and knowledge and come up with his quote-unquote strategy?
I don't know, because he's got Hagel there about as stupid as a fence post. Well, didn't mean to insult a fence post. But anyway, Hagel ain't got no business being the Secretary of Defense. He don't know which end of the rifle goes off.
I said earlier, and I know that I'm going to be criticized, as I have been the last couple of days by the left that doesn't have the guts to get on the program and arbitrate with me. But I'm very afraid for my family, for my friends, excuse me, and for my country, because I see no leadership. And honestly, Al, you watch it. You're a news junkie, and I mean that out of respect. You saw it last night. There are people like Bolton, former ambassador to the United Nations, that said, quote unquote, he's thunderstruck as to what this administration is doing.
I know it. All they can think about is all this baloney about the NFL abuse and all that stuff. For hell's sakes, drop the subject, get back to where we're going, and start protecting the United States of America and their people.
Amen. God bless you, Al. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
All right, buddy. Calls are welcome. What do you think about this? A community organizer, very ill-prepared to be president. Barack Hussein Obama. And he hasn't got a clue. But yet, he will sit there with our 4-star generals and arbitrate with them on a strategy that he feels is going to work. The only reason he feels it's going to work is because it's policies and strategies of the liberal left, not wanting to get their hands dirty. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Also, yesterday there was something that was said on a call that I had on my cell phone, and this caller, it made me so mad, and I wished I could have had a chance to respond. It was a message that was left on my phone, and the caller said, I'm paraphrasing, you along with other talk show hosts are just trying to make the story of ISIS bigger. And I thought, what in the world are they talking about? That's basically the gist of what was left. You and other talk show hosts are just trying to make the story with ISIS bigger. No, I'm reporting the truth. I'm reporting what's going on. I'm reporting my opinion on the stupidity of this administration. Caller, I'll be right there. Do not hang up. I'll be right there. Denny's Restaurant. We're going to be over there tomorrow for Zeb's Lunch Bunch at 11:30. Tomorrow. Don't miss it. Lots of door prizes. Thanks to our friends at Smith's Food King, Walmart, and Hanson Mortuary. We really appreciate it. Denny's Restaurant. Oh, my goodness. That menu is phenomenal. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You're going to love it. The service is out of this world. Really nice people. So come on by and join us tomorrow at Denny's Restaurant for Zeb's Lunch Bunch, but you can stop in anytime and enjoy the great meals. Denny's Restaurant in Burley. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
You know, Zeb, Al had it just right. We keep going to war, and we change it to a police action, so our military doesn't have any authority because of the Posse Comitatus Act. And then they have to follow the orders of the president and the Congress on when to shoot, when they can fire back. They don't have any choice when they die or when they get wounded or hurt. This is just a complete, insane, corrupt system by doing police actions.
I agree.
It just does not work for our country.
I agree.
And I think we ought to just, if we are going to go into a police action, just stay out of it. It's not worth it for our people to be killed and maimed. And then the government won't take care of them when they get back anyhow. So it's just a three-way street. They lose every way the young people go. I just can't agree with what our president is doing at all.
I agree with you.
He's an insane person.
I agree with you. I think that he has shown his complete ineptness, his amateuristic attitude, his inability to lead from behind, and I agree with you. Jerry, always good to hear from you. Thank you for your opinion this morning. God bless you, man. Thanks.
You bet. You have a wonderful day, and may the Lord bless you and your whole radio audience.
All right, thank you, Jerry.
For many, many years.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I wish, and I said this yesterday, and I mean it. I know there's a lot of Democrats out there in the audience that believe in the Democratic platform. Where are they? Why aren't they calling and saying, well, this is the way we see it. This is what we feel. Hey, I've got an open forum. I've got an opportunity for you to go ahead and state your case, and then I'll arbitrate with you. I remember, and I just want to say this. I've said it before. I'll mention it again. A couple of years ago, there was a person in this area that was receiving an award, and I called the person, and I said, would you like to come on my program? I'd like to talk about your award. No, I don't want to come on your program. Why? I'm just going to talk about the award they're giving you. No, I don't like you and your politics. Bang, hang up the phone. Wow, what closed-minded people. Good morning, you're on the air.
Morning, Sam. Good program.
Thank you, sir.
Talking about, history does repeat itself, and we're no different. Our president is no different than Lenin was at the beginning, who was the leader of the Bolshevik Revolution that brought down Russia. And he led as an organizer from outside of Russia. He was able to take it over as an organizer. Now, I hear people always talking about how inept our president is. He's not inept at all. He's doing exactly what he said he was. He's not a bad president. He's doing what he said he was going to do, and that's what socialists, communists, whatever you want to call them, do. And so, I way of thinking he's not going the way we want him, but he's doing exactly what he's good at.
And Gary, I respect the way you handled that with your verbiage and everything, but you've got to admit that right now, when you look at our economy, when you look at our energy or lack of, when you look at what's happening internally in this country with all of our borders open like Swiss cheese and we have no clues coming in, when you look at our lack of national security, when you look at our lack of respect that we have given to us from every corner of the world. This man, in 6 years, has taken the United States and lowered it to standards that I don't think we can achieve to get back on top.
I agree with you, and it's frightening, and it's very upsetting, but he's doing what you just described is the result of what his plan is and their plan is, to take over the country and change it fundamentally into another direction.
Okay, but...
And until we get some of our own people, even our own legislators that live here in the country, in our community, they should be having a flag or a sign and marching in the streets so we can follow them, but they're not doing that either.
Gary, let me ask you a quick question. Caller number 2, stay there. I'll be right there. But Gary, why and how is the American public buying into this thing? I mean, my goodness, this is the greatest land, the greatest country that's ever been on the face of the earth. Why are people developing a hatred and animosity for a country that has provided so much for so many?
Well, it started back in the 60s with the marches, let's go to San Francisco. And anyway, that is what has happened 50 years later. Now we're seeing what happened with all the promiscuity and throwing the baby out with the bathwater, throwing out religion and throwing out standards and getting politically correct as you squeak.
I agree. Gary, please do not make yourself a stranger. I love hearing from you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
God bless. Caller, I'll be right there, I promise. Stand by. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. 3 locations to serve the entirety of the valley. Twin Falls on Addison Avenue West, South Lincoln and Jerome, and their new one. Oh, it's a big one. Highway 30 right there going into 30, 159 West Highway 30. Oh, my goodness. They've got everything over there. All the Coyote tractors. There's coyotes all over the place over there at Barry Equipment and Rental. They've got all your man lifts. They've got all those big aerial lifts for you, nifty lifts. They've got everything to get the job done way up high in the air. They've got all the Doosan loaders. They've got everything for you to lease or buy at Barry Equipment and Rental. Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, and Highway 30 in Burley, Barry Equipment and Rental. Caller, please go ahead.
Zeb, seriously, Barack Obama has stuck a knife in the heart of America, and it's going to take years to undo the damage he has done. The roots of this man are not American. They are Muslim roots. And this is the reason why he's dragging his feet so much about the problems we've got in the Middle East.
You know, Tony, if you would have said what you just said 2 years ago, a lot of people were protecting Obama. A lot of people were saying, oh, he's a Christian man. Oh, he's this and that. He's such a great American. Now the numbers are starting to go the other way. Now the people and the percentages and the pollings are showing that people are really starting to have second thoughts about what they were led to believe about this man, and the numbers are dropping like a rock in water. I agree with you 100%.
Well, a lot of these people are beginning to realize that even the ones that are coming here going on welfare are going to end up with nothing if somebody like Hillary gets in, carries on the same way that Obama is doing to this country.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Tony, and you're the generation ahead of me, but I want your opinion quickly. I honestly believe that if Hillary Clinton does become president of the United States, it's over.
Oh, absolutely it's over. I mean, she's another fool, and the only thing that her and her husband are after is more power and more money, and they'll be spending more time on talk show hosts telling people how great they are while the country's going to hell.
I agree. Tony, always good to hear from you, and Mary, God bless you. Thank you so much.
Okay, bud.
Thank you.
Bye, Zeb.
Thank you very much. Calls are welcome. I'll stand up, and I'm going to say this on September 17th at exactly 8:30 in the morning. If Hillary becomes president, that's it. Time for the Capital Press Ag Minute. We'll be right back.
Give me 30 seconds to get it loaded.
Oh, really? 30 seconds. 29, 28, 27. I'll do a quick commercial. Hey, by the way, don't forget our friends at Snyder Surplus. It's not just Army and hunting supplies anymore. They're located at 112 South, 200 west of Rupert. And they've got everything from food boxes, yes sirree, in case of an emergency. They got all the food boxes made up. They've got gun cases. They've got bunk beds. They've got everything over there. Brand new store. All brand new merchandise and the great, great friendly service. They really care and take care of you at Snyder Surplus, 112 South, 200 west of Rupert. You stop in and see them today. Let's see, that was 47. Here's the Capital Press Ag Minute.
The Capital Press Ag Minute is brought to you by OnlyAgs.com.
Two southwestern Idaho Farm Bureau groups are teaming up with the Idaho State Police to try to prevent fatal accidents involving automobiles and farm equipment. According to Idaho's Office of Highway Safety, there were 5 fatal crashes involving farm vehicles and automobiles in the state during 2013, making it one of the worst in recent memory of those types of accidents. Farm Bureau groups are financing a $4,500 public service announcement that will run on a local television station during this week. The 30-second PSA features an ISP trooper with farm vehicles driving down rural roads behind him, urging people to be cautious and patient around farm vehicles.
To receive instant, exclusive, unlimited access to the West Agricultural News Source, register your account today at CapitalPress.com.
Thank you very much, Capital Press. A great agricultural newspaper. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I don't know about you, but I don't like being threatened. I don't like somebody saying, well, if you do this, I'm going to get you. I'm going to do this. I don't like being threatened, okay? I don't like threats to this country. I don't like threats of terror and threats of death and threats of Armageddon that would absolutely be of negative value to anybody and everybody in this great country, the United States of America, to our families, our grandchildren, our neighbors, our communities. I don't like threats. Well, ISIS, in a magazine called Dabiq, D-A-B-I-Q, has warned that the United States and other Western crusaders are facing Armageddon at the hands of their terror group. In other words, they're saying that they are going to kill us all. Okay? Well, I got to looking at this story, and one of the things that they said in this magazine called Dabiq, and they said, quote, a day will come when the Muslims will walk everywhere as a master, having honor, being revered, with their heads raised high and their dignity preserved. I don't know about you, but in my reaction to this is lock, load, and aim. I don't like being threatened. And these threats, quite frankly, as I look back in history with hindsight, and this is what I want you to respond to. As I look back in history with hindsight, and I think about presidents that had the moxie to stand up at a podium and say, bring it on, we will crush you like a bug. Ronald Reagan comes to mind. And I said to my wife last night as I was watching the news and watching the eyes of Obama, watching the facial expressions of Chuck Hagel, watching the expressions on our generals, they look almost timid. They look almost afraid. And right now, more than ever before, I think, we need to have, and you might laugh as I embellish the fact that I think we need to have someone like a John Wayne look out at the world and say, back off. Back off now. Maybe you don't agree with that. But I honestly think that toughness has to reign supreme right now. This mamby-pamby attitude of, oh, live and let live and let's turn the other cheek. James Foley and the others that have been beheaded don't have another cheek. It's time to get tough now. 436-2244-1866-927-4587. I also want to remind you about Sophie's Chatterbox. Oh, they've got a bakery over there at Sophie's Chatterbox, second to none at 530 East Street on the square in Rupert. And I suggest you call for wedding cakes, cookie bars, homemade bread. I love homemade bread. Oh, boy. Make French toast out. It's great. And delicious cinnamon rolls. Oh, my. Yes, sirree, Bobby. Breakfast, lunch, or supper, too. Open Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 to 2. Sophie's Chatterbox on the square in Rupert. You stop over and say howdy. They've got some great eating over there. What are your folks thinking about this? I mean, honestly, Congress today, with Congressman Trey Gowdy as the chairman, they are going to start their committee investigation into Benghazi, and especially into the charges by Raymond Maxwell, formerly with the State Department, that documents possibly were taken and trashed or hidden or whatever that would have protected Hillary in regards to the fiasco and debacle of Benghazi. What are your thoughts about that? You know, really, folks, think about the news right now. You got to be honest on these talk shows, and you got to tell it like it is. Because America is so naive in some instances, and the man on the street isn't informed, and they're the voting public. So what are your thoughts? Speak out. Speak out. Let me know what your thoughts are. I mean, we've got a mess in Benghazi, and the Democrats have tried to whitewash this because they want to protect Hillary. They want to just basically shoehorn her into the Oval Office. And there's some trouble in River City back there. I don't want that. I would not support that woman no matter what. No matter what. How can you support Hillary Clinton? Let's go back to her track record. What has she done? What has she done? What did she do as Secretary of State? I'm going to have to think about that for a little bit. What did she do prior to that? Where is her experience except following Bill around or investigating Bill? One of the two. What has she done? And what would happen if she was president? She came out the other day, right after one of the beheadings, and said, well, the greatest thing we have to fear in this country is climate change. What? How can that woman be that dense? Now, there are those that are going to say, well, you just don't want her to be president because she's a woman and you're being sexist. No. I don't want Hillary to be president because I don't think she's capable. I don't think she has the gray matter between her ears, and I don't think she would be a benefit to this country. There are women I think that would be absolutely excellent. I've already named one many times on this program, Condoleezza Rice. Very, very intelligent woman. And there are others. But it's not Hillary. No, it's not Hillary. Calls are welcome, 436-224-1866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Did you hear what happened in South Carolina on 911 in a small town in South Carolina? 4 teenagers that love this country, that drive their vehicles to school. They put great big United States flags on their pickups and were flying them proudly as they drove into the parking lot. Stand by, caller. I'll be right there. The superintendent got all teed off and said, take those flags off those vehicles. Why? Well, because it might be offensive to somebody. Oh, really? Who cares? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell, and thank you for your time. This is Shelley, and during the time of Benghazi, during those months, I did not have any cable TV services going on. I did not get any newspaper to keep up on the news, but in my own prayer time, the Lord put on my heart. He says, you're going to be attacked in September, and to be on the alert. And so in that, not knowing what was happening in the news, no clue, I called someone back east and, just shared with them to be on the alert and everything, and nothing more was said or anything. And then a few months later, on the election day, I had my TV services turned back on, and then within a few weeks, I turned on the TV and listened to the news, and something had happened on September 11th in Benghazi. And so when I learned that for the first time, I knew already that it was a terrorist attack, because the Lord already told me in my heart that there's going to be a terrorist attack. So I already know, that it was a terrorist attack. So all these excuses about videos are a bunch of hogwash. And plus the fact, I really, President Obama, in his strategy even lately, sending troops over to Africa, of all things, to, build extra hospital rooms. He's actually sending our troops over there to get sick and die.
Well, whoa. That I won't put up with as far as that speculation. And quite frankly, I'm going to interrupt there and say, no, I don't agree. The Ebola crisis, well, wait a minute. The Ebola crisis over in Africa is one that has to be thwarted. And in certain particular cases, I will say good for the United States for what they're doing. Sending troops over to help as far as organizing the cities, organizing where these health centers are going to be. I am not against that, because the Ebola crisis has killed thousands and thousands, and it has to be contained. Thank you for your call, by the way. I do appreciate it. I've got to do a weather forecast right now. Thank you. But I'm not going to criticize, and I will not allow speculation saying that Obama sent the troops over there to be killed. No. We have a health crisis. We have a human crisis in this world. And Ebola is one that if that virus mutates, I was reading about it this morning, and instead of just being where it's passed on by bodily fluids, it could become airborne. We've got a real problem all over the world. So containment is absolutely essential right now on Ebola, and much more study. And so therefore, if our troops, and I really feel this way, so do many others that have been highly critical of Obama and what he's doing, but when Charles Krauthammer, a man that I utmost respect for, comes out and says this is a good thing to help clean up and stop the spread of Ebola in Africa with our troops being there, I'm going to back him, and I'm going to say, yes, that is a good thing. This Ebola virus has to be stopped and has to be curtailed. Caller, I respect your call. Please do not go away. I'm going to have the weather forecast real quick, and it's sponsored by Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, they've got everything. All the water bottles, caps, they can put your logos on, your pins. They've got the buck knives, and if you buy a buck knife from them to go hunting, they'll even engrave it for you. You bet. Just mention my name, Nicole and the crew at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Stop in and see them today. Right now, here's the weather forecast. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by.
Looks like it's going to be slightly breezy for today. Winds out of the southeast, right around 7 miles an hour. On the warm side as well, high of 93. Tonight, expect an overnight low near 60. Tomorrow, winds picking up out of the west, right around 11 miles an hour. Still partly cloudy, cooling down to about 82 with an overnight low near 55. Friday, pretty much the same. Partly cloudy skies, high of 82.
Very well done. You've done that once or twice before. Thank you very much. And it's brought to you by Nicole. I love this store. I love what they can do. I just love the way they help promote your business. Nicole and the crew at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, lately, in the last couple of weeks, John McCain has, he was on CNN with the former press secretary. I can't think of his name. And
Jay Carney?
No one said, go ahead.
Jay Carney?
Yes. Did you see that?
No, but I heard about it.
Well, he didn't cut that guy an ounce of slack. And you're saying, well, where have you been, John? Where have you been? Of course, it has to do with, this, what's going on with ISIS.
Yeah.
And then Lindsey Graham, his buddy, has also said that there's absolutely no excuse for what is going on, and like hell if we're going to tolerate this. And you're going, okay, boys, well, what in the hell have you been waiting for? You see, we may not agree with them, we may not like them, but if they just stand up and show a little spine, it tends to give the conservative people of America some inspiration,
Randy,
and hope.
Randy, I got a question for you, and you're like Al, you follow the news and you understand what's going on. But when you get together with your friends at the coffee shop or you talk to your friends at night, ask yourself this question and ask them, how could the strongest, supposedly the best informed country in the world, with all of our intelligence, and we got the NSA spying on Randy and Zeb and knowing everything that we're saying, they know everything I put on my radio program, how could the most informed country in the world not understand the threat of ISIS until all of a sudden, where'd they come from?
Well, there's no excuse for it, and if he's not a Muslim, he is extremely sympathetic to the religion. He might be amoral, but in some cases, he's just pro-Muslim. And so, he does this tap dance, and he's been doing it for 6 years, and like your caller a couple back, he said, he knows he's a highly skilled anarchist.
Yeah.
And he's...
But let me ask you this though, Randy. How in the world can you sit there and anybody watch the news like last night? I watched about 6 or 7 different news broadcasts on different networks. And how can anybody sit there and respect the fact that our generals that have been there, they know, they've had their boots in the dust, they know exactly what's going on, and yet a community organizer is going to set up strategy? Woo! It scares me.
Well, it's a terrible thing, and again, if we don't have elected officials, leaders who stand up and contradict this position, then who is going to do it? You and I are doing everything, okay, people are like us. We're doing everything we know how to do to try to save our country. But you see, we elect these people, and when Mike Crapo and Jim Risch and Simpson, you hear nothing from them, even though they say stuff. And I hear stuff from Jason Chaffetz and Mike Lee from Utah, and I say, well, what the hell? I mean, tell me that you're really saying something or you're not. I just don't know that I can believe what they're telling me. But you see, it doesn't matter. We just need something done.
I think, and I'll go back to the simplicity of a statement that I've said many times on this program. Give me a short answer on this because I got to get a commercial in. But I don't want to hear about the I factor. I want to hear about the we factor. I want to hear Chaffetz and I want to hear everybody, Risch and Crapo and everybody team up and gang the White House doors and say, this is what we want from our constituents. Do it, Mr. President.
Yeah, the pressure, we can override the media. We can override his opinion. Again, we can't be the silent majority like Brigitte Gabriel says. We have got to save our country.
Amen.
I just, you just hope that something occurs that is good for us.
Amen. Randy, I appreciate your call always. Thank you very much. God bless. Have a good day. Yeah, I've said for a long time on this program, I don't want to hear him come on the program and say, well, I introduced this. I have been in support of... I don't care about your okay? I want you to join ranks with other senators. And I want you to join ranks with other congressmen. I want you to form a coalition. And I want power that is going to support what the American people want. I couldn't care less about the holy I. And that's what's not being done. That's what's not being done. I don't care about John McCain getting on the radio or television and saying, I. Oh, baloney. What good is that going to do? But when you start hearing we as a unified voice, that shows strength and power. Oh, talking about strength and power, that's, of course, what you're going to receive with the best of driving tires from your what a segue, from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, boy, I'll tell you what, they got the best in people. They got the best in tires, and they can help you with your car, pickup, SUV, horse trailer, whatever. Hey, listen, stop in. Big tire sale going on right now. Along with that, they've got many of the custom wheels on sale to dress up your vehicle. They've got the best brake value promise in the industry, professionally trained technicians, and they'll give you free brake inspections and estimates. Oh, you better stop in. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, the best in batteries. It's all there for you with your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike in Buell, Mike in Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, I was talking a little bit about in South Carolina, those kids, high school kids, they love this country. And on 911, they put big United States flags on poles in the back of their pick-em-up trucks and went to school. And the superintendent said, "Take those flags down. They might offend somebody." My question to you is, as we get close to the end of this hour, but I'll take calls, why in the world should we as Americans, who have lost relatives, uncles, fathers, friends, neighbors, as they fought for this country, why in the world would we ever care if somebody's offended by the United States flag? I am not. If that offends somebody out in the audience, that's tough. Fly that flag proudly. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning again. It's me again, Shelley. I want to share one thing. I'm not against, helping the sick people have better facilities over in Africa. But the one thing I think it's good to send. I think it would be better for use of our military to just send the materials like wood and all nails, whatever, and have the carpenters already at Africa to use that to build the extra facilities. But the use of our military to fight some disease, I think it's better to use that military to keep them healthy. Are they going to have, are they going to be clothed properly? Are they going to be exposed to this disease? I mean, they're being exposed to the disease by sending them over. I think we should send our military troops over to the other direction to help protect Israel with boots on the ground.
No, I can't argue that point. I agree as far as our support to our ally Israel is very important, omnipresent. We should always support Israel. I appreciate that very much for your call back on that. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you again, sir.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Calls are welcome, 436-2244-1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Did you hear a quick story I want to mention, too? I noticed we didn't get a call on the flags, but I will say this. In a somewhat related story, RG3, you know who he is, the quarterback for the Washington Redskins, wore a T-shirt the other day to a press conference meeting that was "No Jesus, No Peace." And it was KNOW, no Jesus, no peace. Okay? Stopped at the door by a media relations person and said, you can't wear that T-shirt in here. No, might offend somebody. And it's not a Nike-approved garment. Nike, big sponsor of the clothing and T-shirts, etc. for the NFL. And he was told to either take it off or turn it inside out. Or he would. RG3, one of the most written about quarterbacks in the NFL, he was told that he wouldn't be allowed in. And in order to get in there, he had to turn it inside out. And it was nothing more than an anti-religious move right there by the security guard because it had the word Jesus on it. And he weakened. I wished he wouldn't have. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, Sam. I dare anybody tells me come in here and tell me to take my flag down. It flies night and day. There's light on it at night.
You remind me a lot of another individual that you know, and I have the utmost respect for both of you, and that's Russell Smith. Russell had a flagpole put in his yard, and he flies his flag every day. You fly your flag every day. And for those of you that have fought for this country and had friends die for this country, how dare anybody on 9/11 especially, a day that absolutely America took a shot to the jaw, how could anybody ever tell somebody not to fly the flag because it might be offensive?
I can't understand it. This is the United States of America, the greatest country on earth. And that flag means the world to me.
Absolutely.
That's the symbol of this nation.
Absolutely. But you know something, Fred? Why in the world, just give me a short answer, I'm almost out of time. Why should we even care about somebody being offended? I am not.
I am not either. Why? Get out of the country if you're offended.
Amen. Thank you, my dear friend. God bless you. I appreciate it. Thank you. I got to run. We are going to take a little break right now, and then we're going to come back with Doug Johnson from Colorado. I always look forward to having Doug on the air. And then we're going to do a local interview right here at 9:30 with a good old boy, Nick Greenwell. Nick Greenwell with, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. And they've been helping me a lot with my leg and some of the problems that I've had happen with that leg after surgery. And we're going to talk to him about that. And then at 10:06 this morning, Idaho Fish and Game Report, Kelton Hatch will be here. Okay, we're going to run. We'll see you in 6. Okay, here we go. Hour number 2 this morning on Wednesday, September the 17th. And I'm Zeb Bell. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and these phrases. Western Waste Services is nothing ahead, always at your disposal.
Thank you very much, Western Waste Services, for all you do, because they are always at our disposal. That's right. Get rid of the garbage. It's gone. Get on the route service. Call them. We've been so happy on the route service for years and years. Every Thursday afternoon, almost right to the minute, that big truck pulls up, vroom, 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 dumps the garbage, and we're garbage free. Yep, you'll love it. Great service. And don't forget, too, they've got all the dumpsters in various sizes. Fill them up. Clean out that garage and clean out the basement. By golly, when you get them filled, they'll come get them. You better believe it. They are always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, 734-6969. Really good people. Want to remind you real quick before we get Doug on the phone that this Saturday, the POWMIA recognition ceremony day at the Rupert Square, starting in the morning at 10 o'clock with live music, and the actual ceremony will start at 2. And in the morning, Gina's going to be over there broadcasting live and direct with K-Bar Radio, and then I'll be over there at 2 to MC the ceremony. So plan on being there in Rupert. Also want to remind you about our friends at Hanson Mortuary. Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to write down and keep handy, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, absolutely, with flexible hours, family place, serving you and your family. They can travel to rural towns and churches, and if you can't make it in to see them, they can come to see you. When there's the passing of a loved one in the family, they will do everything they can to help you with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please give them a call, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. Without further ado, we go to Colorado via the phone line, and a very, very dear friend of mine, Doug Johnson. How are you, my friend?
Well, I'm good, Mr. Bell. How are you this morning?
Mr. Bell, my goodness, are you looking for a check in the mail?
Well, I'm not opposed to it.
Doug,
no, I just thought I'd be a little formal this morning.
Well, I appreciate that as master. Mr. Johnson, are you ready to go?
I am, and I figure if we give each other some respect, it's more than any Democrat will ever give us.
Oh, you got that right. Listen, I want to start things off this morning. We got so much that we could talk about, actually, for the entirety of the whole program, whether it's the Benghazi hearings that are starting this morning, chaired by Trey Gowdy, whether it's the mess with ISIS and their threats of Armageddon, whether it's Hillary Clinton, whether it's anything that absolutely is on the news right now, the ineptness and the amateurist attitude of Obama, ignoring his generals. But one thing I wanted to talk about was your blog, the Horse Sense blog. You made a statement on a headline for your blog this last week, and I want to just have you elaborate on it a little bit. You said Republicans have lost the lead. Now polls show Democrats will hold Senate majority. I disagree with that.
Well, I'm just reciting what the poll says.
Yeah.
And I do think, I have said all along, I am not confident that the Republicans will take the Senate. They are notorious for making terrible mistakes in elections, especially as we get down to the wire, which we are now down to about 6 weeks left.
Yeah.
So I'm not confident. I think we are, we have seen their weakness, their lack of backbone affect the support people have for them. If people had more support, they would show it, and we're not seeing it. They may do okay, but I'm not convinced. I'm very, very concerned, and that's why I wrote the piece.
No, I think it was an excellent piece, but I just don't want to think that they've lowered that 45 to aim at their big toe again. I certainly hope that they can do whatever needs to be done to take the Senate, and you came up with some absolutely good, strong, convincing points of interest as to what they need to do. But let's back up for a minute. You know as well as I do that there are a bunch of internal problems, number one being they can't get along with the Tea Party, which I think is complete childish and imbecilic. Why? If they would form a coalition with the Tea Party and sit down and say, okay, here's what we think, here's what you think, let's try to work a little bit of a mutual agreement here, they could rule the world.
Well, there's no doubt about that. The problem is their values. The values of most Republicans, which are establishment Republicans, because that's who controls the party and who the majority are. Sorry, they do not hold the same values as conservatives, as Tea Party Republicans, as the Republican Party platform is. Most Republicans couldn't tell you what the Republican Party platform is because they don't believe in it. That's why, I can't remember his name, his name was Bratt, beat Cantor back east in his primary because he simply pulled out the Republican Party platform and went out and campaigned and said, this is what I stand for. And the people embraced it. They said, good, that's what we want. And yet he was campaigning on the very platform Cantor was supposed to be supporting.
Yeah.
But most Republicans, they won't say it publicly, but they do not support it, and their records show it.
Doug, I don't want to sound negative this morning any more than I did in the first hour, because I was talking about ISIS and I was talking about our president overriding the generals, and the generals that have had their shoes in the dirt over in the Middle East, they know what kind of a strategy is going to work, and this community organizing president hasn't got a clue as to fighting anything except maybe flies in August in Washington, D.C. It's scary where we're at right now? How concerned are you with this complete debacle with a lack of leadership?
Well, I am concerned, and I would agree it's a lack of leadership, but I don't think, and of course we've talked about it before, we talked about it last week, I don't think Obama is inept or incompetent at all. He doesn't care about the Middle East. He just wants to turn it over to Iran. He doesn't think it's a threat to us. This is why he sends 3,000 troops to deal with Ebola, which they shouldn't be doing, and only 475 to Iraq, because he doesn't think that really military is important other than as a social organization to go out and do what he believes are good works.
Okay, now,
He wants to turn us into the good works country, and that's good works, I'm basing it on whatever his definition of that would be, as opposed to a strong military force, which he doesn't believe in. And so I think what we're seeing is the playing out of his ideology.
Okay, now, it's good that you and I have a difference of opinion sometimes, because we're the dearest of friends, but yet I'm going to arbitrate with you on a point you made. I had a caller first hour also say that that person didn't like the idea about Obama sending troops over to Africa to help fight the Ebola crisis. I disagree. I think that we should send the world's and our nation's best and smartest and brightest when it comes to medicine and comes to fighting any kind of a virus over there. And if the military, 3,000 troops, can do anything to help with the cleanliness standards, to help with the building of facilities that would help house these people, to keep the disease from spreading, whatever. I think, and Charles Krauthammer and others last night voiced their support of my opinion, that I think we should do this because Ebola, if it mutates into another strain that would be airborne, it could be the damnation of the entire world.
Oh, I think we're already seeing signs of things like that here with the enterovirus, I think they call it, and these other things we're seeing come into the country. But I am absolutely in favor of doing whatever we can to help fight that. But I think we have better people we could send than soldiers. I think we put our soldiers at risk. I think just as when we sent them into Iraq under George W. Bush and they did not have proper protection and families had to go out of their own pocket and buy bulletproof vests and other things to protect them, the soldiers had to rebuild their vehicles because they weren't armor plated to protect themselves because we didn't take care of them. So this isn't just this administration. We don't provide the proper protections for our military. Our military should have the best of the best, whatever they're facing. And I fear that we're going to send 3,000 troops over there without the proper protection, and we're going to cause a nightmare with this disease coming back amongst American troops and potentially coming back to America. So that's one thing. But on the flip side, I agree with you. I just think we need to be careful who we select to send, and then, for lack of a better term, arm them properly against the threat they face.
All right, point, counterpoint, well taken. Thank you, Doug. That was excellent. Okay, now I think you and I are going to agree on this next subject, and this is kind of a question and a statement combined. How could anyone, after seeing the debacle with Obama and his lack of understanding, his lack of leadership, his lack of really having a feel for the job, how could anybody put themselves into the position of voting for Hillary Clinton when she has even less abilities and aptitude in 2016? I listened to her the other night when she was in Iowa, and I told my wife, I said, how could anybody vote for her, really, with her stand? She came out right after the James Foley beheading and said, the biggest fear we have in this country is not anything but global warming. I mean, Doug, please, this woman is absolutely inept.
Well, you know, the left, and not just the elected left, but the left blindly supports their candidates. Actually, most Americans do, sadly. But they will blindly follow whoever their candidate is, and she is the anointed one to many. Yeah. Although I think she's going to get a real run from Elizabeth Warren, but that's a separate topic. But I think that we have seen, you know, they talk about her being the most qualified for president, whatever, and she can't name one thing, and neither can any of her supporters, can't name one thing she has accomplished as First Lady, as Senator, or as Secretary of State, and yet they think she's the most qualified. What that says is in their mind, qualifications are not based on performance or experience or actual achievement. They're based on who they politically, who they think is the most politically correct. And many people feel she's the most politically correct, and so they will support her. If Americans were really paying attention, we would not see the people running for office that we're seeing. We would not, on either party, we would see very few of these people accepted they'd be thrown out. But Americans base things on very superficial standards, and as a result, we do face the potential of a Hillary presidency.
Let me ask you this. I know these are allegations, but backing up a couple of weeks, when I saw the three individuals of Benghazi's security team, these three heroes that defied orders finally to stand down, and they went to the defense of the embassy in Benghazi. And I watched the tears streaming down their faces, and I listened to their verbiage, and I listened to Bret Baier ask the question, do you feel that if you had not been told to stand down and had left to go and help protect the embassy, that Ambassador Stevens and the others would still be alive today? And they all three emphatically said, yes. Do you feel, like I do, Doug, that Benghazi is still wide open for a lot of study and wide open to show that Hillary and this administration had much more going on than what we're aware of?
Well, you've actually asked a couple-part question. The general answer is that even though the Democrats and the media don't, and even many establishment Republicans don't want it to be wide open, but they want it to be dropped and move on, the fact is, I think it is, and I think we are, and this is the bright spot of my day, is that Trey Gowdy's committee that he is chairing has just started up in their operations today, and I think there's hope with Trey Gowdy in charge, because this man obviously is a bulldog who won't back off till he gets answers, and I think there's hope with him there. But I think especially moving towards a 2016 run, once we get past the midterms, I think we'll see Hillary probably make it, well, she will make a decision. She'll probably throw her hat in the ring. I think Bill's pushed her to that, and I think there will be every pressure they can put on the media and everyone else to drop this and move on, or to ignore it, to not report it. So this is going to be an issue that I think it's up to those of us on the conservative side who have any kind of platform, whether it's be to your friends and neighbors, or it's to a radio audience like you have, or a reading audience like I have with what I write. I think we have an obligation to bring this to the forefront and keep it to the forefront every time something comes up, because Americans need to know.
What did you think this week of a bombshell report, and again, these are allegations until proven, of former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Raymond Maxwell saying that on a Sunday he had some bad vibes about what might be going on at the State Department, went down into the basement and found people pilfering through different documents, and they were told that they had orders to separate the documents of anything that might make Hillary look bad?
I had not heard that story, Zeb.
Yep, it's a big one.
You just surprised me.
No, it's a big one. As a matter of fact, let me give you the headline, Doug.
I'm not surprised they were doing it.
Well, let me give you the headline as to what happened yesterday. Raymond Maxwell is the gentleman that was warned to basically back off. And here's what some of the people with the State Department told him. They said, hey, you're not harmed. You're still getting paid. Don't watch TV if it bothers you. Take your wife on a cruise. It's not about you. It's about Hillary and 2016. If this is proven with the going through these documents and finding out that they were pilfered through and destroyed, I think that Trey Gowdy and the others studying Benghazi, this is a bombshell that could be the rock that breaks the Hillary window.
Oh, yeah, I think it could be huge. Although I hate to be a sour note, but, you know, Bill Clinton was called the Teflon president, And it was mostly because of the work Hillary did to see to it that things didn't stick to him. And I suspect there will be just as much effort made to keep things from sticking to her. They will find a scapegoat. They will find anything. The Clintons will probably deny knowing anything about it and brush it off as something people just out to hurt poor little Hillary, who's so innocent. They will go down fighting, and I don't think they'll go down. Sadly, I'd love to see it be the bombshell that stops her, but I fear it won't be.
I try to get as many different topics on here with you because I love picking your brain in the mornings on Wednesdays. And I want to ask you about this. We have had many stories, Doug, as of late, of people that have been flying the flag or people that have had a flag decal on their windows or whatever, and there's been kind of discriminatory remarks made about them, and people have said, oh, don't do that, it might offend somebody. I just got word this morning that 4 teenagers going to high school in a South Carolina town on 9/11 put a flag in the back of their respective vehicles because they were very proud of this country, and the superintendent came out and told them to remove the flags because it may be offensive to somebody. Bluntly, I will say this: who cares if it offends anyone?
Well, we shouldn't. This is America. We should be proud of America. It's just like the story we talked about a week or so ago about the father who showed up taking his daughter to school wearing his uniform and was told he wasn't allowed there by some idiot security guard. Now, very, very quickly, the school system came back and said, that is not our policy. We welcome men and women in uniform. These are outside help we have hired. We will correct them and get this straightened out. And they issued an apology to the father. So I'll give the school system credit for that, although they should have informed their people. They shouldn't even have to inform their people up front. But I guess what I take from this, Zeb, is you've just cited a perfect example, and the story I cited that we talked about a couple weeks ago, are perfect examples of why we need to be involved on every level in our government, whether it be the local school board or local elected officials' offices or state or federal or whatever. It's not just about voting for the person on the piece of paper. It's about getting involved on whatever level you're called to get involved in. And so good people need to be, because they need to be in there fighting for change and standing for what's right. And I think this is a good example of, I personally, I don't know the community it was in that you're telling me about, but I think in most communities in America, if somebody ran on a strong platform saying, we're not going to put up with this stuff, I as a parent am going in, I want to run for the school board and make sure our children are taught properly and things are handled properly, I think American people, regardless of party affiliation, would rally behind them.
I agree. Hey, we got a quick call. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air.
I wanted to know if Doug had ever heard of or read the book called Blood Feud by Edward Klein that exposes the relationship between the Clintons and the Obamas and what type of people they really are.
Okay, that is a good question, and we've commented on that book on this program in the last couple of weeks, too. It's an excellent book. Ed Klein has written a book called Blood Feud. What do you know about this book and the characterizations that he portrays in the book about the Clintons and others, Doug?
I actually wrote a blog post about this back when the book first came out, and I think, well, first, Ed Klein writes some great books. He's well connected in Washington. My concern about this book, and I think there's probably truth to a lot of it, but I also think even contrary to what he may realize is I think he may be being used by the Clintons to portray an image they want out there. They are known for feeding information to sources to get stories to go the way they want, even unsuspecting sources. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the stories, such as when they were at dinner at the White House with the Obamas and the president, President Obama left the room, and all these various things. It was playing with his BlackBerry under the table or whatever it was. I would not be surprised at all if the Clintons fed those stories to sources to leak them to supposedly leak them to Ed Klein, so that Ed Klein would portray things for the Clintons in a better manner. So I'm a little skeptical of some of the information, but I think it does reveal a lot of facts about what goes on in Washington and that whole world.
You know, it's interesting to hear you say that because, Doug, a couple of years ago, and I'm almost out of time, a couple of years ago I was in Oklahoma City and having a dinner with a United States Senator from that state. And he made the comment that nobody ever in his knowledge in the history of politics could manipulate, change, and alter the media better than the Clinton machine.
Yeah, absolutely. I was, during the Clinton administration, I was doing a lot of business with the federal government and spent a lot of time in Washington and dealing with them. And I dealt with a lot of the power brokers in Washington, very powerful people, to the point that I was going out there on business early in their time in Washington. It was 93 or 94, and they offered me a private tour of the White House, which I took, but they also offered me the chance to meet the Clintons. I turned that down. But the things I would learn, because these were people who were Democrats and very, very strongly connected attorneys in Washington, to have the access they did to things. They got me into places most citizens could never get into without the right kind of people with them. And the stories they would tell me about the power of the Clintons and their ability to manipulate things and control the media was amazing.
Absolutely. Man, I ran out of time. I wished I had more, but Doug, thank you so much. Doug Johnson, great author, great blog writer of the Horse Sense blog, the author of No Tomorrows, The Leadership Secret, everything. Doug, I really appreciate you being on the program. Thank you so much.
Zeb, I always enjoy it. Thanks for having me, and I'll talk to you next week.
God bless. Thank you very much. Doug Johnson, Thank you. Don't forget, Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. There it is, the blue door. Call them, 678-6945. They have all their repurposed furniture, and they've got the do-it-yourself workshop for kids and parents, and they've got great ideas for redecorating your house for the holidays. Don't you snicker, because the holidays literally are just around the corner. There, go ahead, peek. There they are, the holidays. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door or give them a call, 678-6945. Also, I want to remind everybody, did you hear that? Did you hear that? You didn't? Well, then I suggest you'd better get a hold of Christine Pickup, the doctor of audiology at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Did you hear that? She's located 1218 9th Street, Unit 2, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number to call, 312-0957. Did you hear that? Well, you had better have your hearing checked. Yep, you check it out today. Hearing loss is not a part of aging. Don't ignore hearing loss. She may have some answers to help your hearing at Mount Harrison Audiology. Give her a call today, 312-0957. Did you hear that? Okay. In just a moment, we're going to have a very dear friend of mine on the air, and that is Nick Greenwell with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, and I can't wait to find out more about his business. He's done really well and helped a lot of people in this area. Before we get him on the air, I want to remind everybody about Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, and I'll tell you what, they've got all your snow machines coming in. Zeb, quit talking about snow. No, listen, it's coming, and we might as well be ready to have fun. They've got all the new snow machines over there for you. Yeah, Betty, they've got them all. And along with the snow machines, don't forget, too, the showroom is just full of ATVs. Oh, my goodness. A lot of fun this fall going up on the hills. You better get in there. And, oh, by the way, too, now's the time to winterize your watercraft. That's hard to say. Winterize your watercraft. There we go. And get everything packed away until next year, okay? Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. You stop in and see him Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. A gentleman that really knows physical therapy, and he has a very efficient staff. And am I bragging? Yes, because I think he deserves it. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Nick Greenwell, good morning. Good to have you on the air.
Morning, Zed. How are you?
I'm great. Give us a little background and history, if you would, of Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. How did you get this started, and why did you choose this as a career choice?
Oh, my goodness, you're going to date me here. That's okay. I went to physical therapy school at Idaho State and graduated in 1998. And I grew up in Oakley and wanted to be back in the area as I really enjoyed growing up here. And I did a little bit of my clinical work during physical therapy school in the area and just kind of knew I wanted to be back here with family and friends. And I opened the practice here in 1999, so a few years ago, and we just kind of slowly built things up since then, and we're really happy with where we are now, almost 17 years later here, and we're staying plenty busy and hopefully helping lots of people in the area.
Now, I would imagine, Nick, that I want to go back to your education on this. You said you went to Idaho State, and I would imagine that your job, really, you have to work closely with the doctors, whether it's a rehab on a broken leg or a broken arm or a bad shoulder or whatever. The education, you must almost have to have the same kind of a training and ability of knowledge as a doctor. Is that correct, with physiology, etc.?
Yeah, it takes a long time. Yeah, it's about a 7-year program when you finally get done. Back in the day when I went through, most programs were master's level or master's degree programs, and these days they've kind of shifted the curriculum a little bit, and most therapists come out with a doctor of physical therapy degree. But yeah, it's about 7 years, so plenty of school.
All right, now, take my case, for example, where I had leg surgery back last January, and I had some other conditions that were problems with the leg prior to that surgery, and it needs a whole bunch of rehab, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore. A lot of elderly people, they may not be aware of the fact that you might be able to help them right there in rehab and actually have a much better senior citizen life.
Yeah, we do a lot of work for shall we say, the baby boomers, as they're kind of reaching that age where they're starting to see rotator cuff issues and back issues and all of that lovely stuff. So we are getting busier and busier every day, and physical therapy has a pretty broad scope of practice, especially in a small town where you don't really specialize in a knee or a shoulder or a back like a lot of therapists do in bigger areas. So we see a very, very wide variety of patients and of all ages. But we see our fair share of the 55 to 85-year-old population for lots of degenerative changes, and just things are maybe slowing their function down a little bit, and they're not able to continue to do the things that they really enjoy doing or spend those active times with their grandkids, and that's kind of where we step in and try and create programs that will allow them to regain some of their prior levels of function and just make life more enjoyable,
Well, I would imagine, and I'm going to let you toot your horn here a little bit, you are also a coach for the Oakley football program, and I would imagine that your professionalism on the field and off the field with Burley Physical Therapy, that's going to help your football players quite a bit with all the bumps and bruises that they have.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to have a little bit of both going on, but yes, it's a nice benefit for the football program and just the sports program in general in Oakley, as I volunteer for a lot of that, to be able to have a little better insight on what we need to do as far as keeping them healthy and avoiding injuries, and hopefully speeding up the post-injury process of those kids that happen to get nipped up a little bit and getting back out on the field or the court or wherever a little bit quicker, you bet.
Nick, let me ask you this question. Now, I'm going in there now and utilizing a pool. Is that, for lack of better terminology, correct me if I'm wrong, would that be considered hydrotherapy?
Absolutely. It's a form of hydrotherapy. And pretty unique to the area. I was a little bit nervous when I decided to put it in, just because of the expense and the commitment there.
But boy, we have really, really been happy with it. We use it every day, all day, as I'm sure you're well aware as you try and schedule to use it. It's a great form of a really low-impact workout to allow people to get a little bit better exercise and not feel the pain after a higher level of impact, say land-based stuff. So yeah, it's very versatile, and we're really happy to have it. And like I say, it does kind of set us apart. It's something that we can offer that a lot of rehab facilities don't have access to at this point.
Nick, let me ask you this question with the hydrotherapy for humans. I've read a lot of stories and heard a lot about hydrotherapy being used on equines, horse places around the country. Wayne Newton on his Arabian ranch that he used to own down by Las Vegas, they were firm believers in hydrotherapy for horses. Is this something that started for animals first and then humans picked it up and it's been a real benefit for them? Tell us a little bit about the background of why water therapy is so good for aches and pains and post-surgery people.
Yeah, I mean, that's been around a long time, and I'm not sure if the veterinary practice picked it up first or vice versa, but yeah, it's been used for a long time, and obviously things are just getting a little bit more sophisticated in the types of pools and venues that we have to offer that type of therapy. But there's a lot of conditions in which it's just too difficult for people to accept either land-based exercise or maybe it's contraindicated. We see lots of people post-surgically that may have some form of lower extremity issue or a back issue, but the physician is nervous about allowing them to bear full weight. And so, even just a few years ago, after certain types of bone and joint surgeries, people would either have to be on crutches or on a walker for 6 or 8 weeks to allow those things to heal properly. And nowadays, as soon as the incision is healed, we can put them in the water and start exercising right away, as it doesn't affect the joint or the skeletal system the same way. And we can speed up the rehab process by 4 to 6 weeks and really get people back to work or, again, back playing with their grandkids or back to their recreational activities that much faster.
Absolutely. Now, one thing I've noticed going in there to take part in the rehab for my leg, along with the hydrotherapy, you've got to have a great staff. And the people there have been so friendly, so congenial, and all of them have a vast amount of knowledge about various exercises, etc. How do you find good people like that for your staff?
I guess I'm just lucky, and I completely agree. We do. We have a fantastic staff here that works well together as a team. As in any service-related industry, you kind of got to roll with the punches, as so to speak, in terms of scheduling and dealing with those kinds of things. And these guys are fantastic. They're very flexible, and again, they really do have a very, very good background in therapy. And it's a smaller area, so it's hard. It can be a little bit challenging to recruit and bring people in to fit into your staff well. And we are extremely excited with the folks that we have working here right now. We just hired a new physical therapist a couple of months ago by the name of Jordan Anderson. He's out of Declo originally, and so he's got a lot of friends and family in the area. And we've just been absolutely thrilled with his help, and we've got a handful of wonderful physical therapist assistants, and again, our front office staff is just awesome in terms of flexibility and being able to work with people's crazy schedules. We work, we come in early in the morning to try and allow people to get in and out before work or school, and we try and stay just a little bit later to allow those folks that can't make it in during the business day so they can still, take part in the rehab process. And it's awesome. It's fantastic. We have a great staff.
All right. Now, Nick, another question I've got is, I would imagine, and tell me if I'm wrong, that with the changes in medical science and the changes perhaps on various philosophies about operations and surgeries, is your business an ongoing education to where you and your staff have to keep up on possibly new and innovative ideas and treatments on various injuries?
Absolutely. That's always an evolving process. There's a ton of research that's always being done in the field, and clearly it is in everybody's best interest to stay on top of the new research and the latest rehab protocols and things like that. So the state of Idaho actually requires a certain number of continuing education credits for therapists and physical therapist assistants, and we make sure we stay right on top of that. In fact, we probably double the required amount just to make sure that everybody's getting the most appropriate treatment and staying up to speed with all of the new procedures and the protocols that the doctors are using.
Absolutely. Nick, I appreciate the time you've taken to come on the program this morning, and I want to urge people, if they have questions, just to give you a call over there at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. What's the landline number for them to call the office and maybe even come by for a visit?
Yeah, definitely. We're always fielding calls like that, and if people want to just stop by and take a look and ask questions face-to-face, we're very flexible with that and can give you a tour, show you the pool, and whatever else you're itching to ask. Our number over here is area code 208-678-1191. And again, feel free to call us or swing by any time, and hopefully we can answer your questions.
All right. Well, Nick Greenwell, thank you very much for being on the show, and continued success. Great staff, really nice people. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, thanks for being on the program this morning.
Hey, thanks, Zeb. I sure appreciate you giving us a call and all of the nice things that you said for us. And I'll be happy to beat on you when you come in there.
All right. And everybody does it very well. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right, you guys have a good day. Thanks.
You bet. Thank you. Nick Greenwell over at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. And I'll tell you what, that hydrotherapy has helped me so much. I met a very nice couple yesterday over there, and I hope I remembered their name and say it correctly. Mr. and Mrs. Harrison, if you're listening this morning, God bless you. It was so nice to meet both of you. And we were talking about the benefits of physical therapy, etc., and the hydrotherapy with the pool. It has helped my legs so much. I've had some injuries since the surgery to that leg. And boy, that hydrotherapy has helped a bunch. I mean that. Time for the weather. And the weather is brought to everybody this hour by Ramsey Heating and Electric with Lennox Home Comfort Systems. And they're offering rebates on qualified Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. All you have to do is call 678-0459. And remember, at Ramsey's, they sell warm winters and cool summers and Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Here now is the weather.
Looks like it's going to be slightly breezy for today. Winds out of the southeast, right around 7 miles an hour. On the warm side as well, high of 93. Tonight expect an overnight low near 60. Tomorrow, winds picking up out of the west, right around 11 miles an hour. Still partly cloudy, cooling down to about 82 with an overnight low near 55. Friday, pretty much the same. Partly cloudy skies, high of 82.
All right. Thank you very much, and thanks to Lennox Home Comfort Systems at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Have a call. I'll be right there, caller. I promise. Don't go away. Just give me about 30 seconds. I want to remind everybody about fall savings at Lee's Furniture, floors and more, on bedroom sets, on mattresses, on carpet, on vinyl floors, on complete rooms made simple, all ready for you to come in and take a look at. My goodness, you better save money right now at Lee's Furniture, floors and more. No money down, no interest on approved credit until January of 2015. Check out all the sofas. Check out all the wonderful brand name furniture, Flex Steel, Beauty Rest mattresses. The list goes on and on. Always quality, always the best people at Lee's Furniture, floors and more at 459 Overland in Burley. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. This is Galen Smyer. How are you?
Well, Galen, good morning. Nice to hear from you.
Well, I'm kind of calling on official business, if you'll bear with me just a moment. We've had a power outage at Burley Junior High School that the city crews are telling us it's going to be several hours before that's repaired. We have moved the students to Burley High School's King of Fine Arts Center, and at this point we'd invite parents to come pick up the students if they want to at the King Fine Arts Center at Burley High School. We'll be contacting parents and determining how they want us to and when they want us to release their students if they're unable to come pick them up. We're contemplating being able to run a bus at midday to deliver those students home, but we hate to deviate too much from the norm, and sometimes students might get home to a locked house. So we're hanging on to the students until the parents pick them up or direct us how they want to have them handled. But we just want to share that with your listeners, because I know people listen to your program and would want to know what's going on.
You know, Galen, I'm so glad you called. Let me reiterate some of the things you said, and you can elaborate on them. A big power outage, and basically the students have been removed from the Burley Junior High over to the King Fine Arts Center. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
And they're being at the King Fine Arts Center until plans and arrangements can be made for the release to their parents. And I think this is really admirable of you and the Cassia County School District, etc., because a lot of parents work and a lot of kids would go home to a locked house, and there's a safety factor. Believe me, I really commend you for the way you're handling this.
Well, I appreciate that, Zeb, and it's just one of those unforeseen things that happens from time to time that we just need to be able to adjust for, and that's what we're trying to do. We were hopeful by buying ourselves a little time, by moving them over to the King Fine Arts Center, that they could have the power up and going by 9:30 or 10 o'clock, but that's just not going to be the case. And so the other thing is, pending the final repair, there may be notification to the contrary, but right now we're planning on school for tomorrow. But if that's not going to be possible, we'll get that word out this evening. But right now there will be school tomorrow.
All right, Galen, is there, and I know I don't want to tie up the lines if not necessary, but is there a number that they can call for information, or how would you suggest they handle that right now, the parents?
Right now, they can call the school district office number, and which is 878-6600, and we will be able to answer their questions there. And then certainly, if they're able, they could go to the high school at the King Fine Arts Center on the south end of the high school, and go into the lobby there and be able to reclaim their students at this point.
If there's an update, don't hesitate to call back, and we can break into the next hour, and we'll give that update information. Thank you so much.
I so appreciate that, Zeb. Thank you.
All right, sir. Galen Smyer, Superintendent of Schools, Cassia County Schools, thank you. And as he stated, the junior high, the kids have been moved over to the King Fine Arts Center because of power outages. And parents, if you have questions or concerns about how during your job day you're going to get these kids and get them home safely, etc., please call. And I believe he said the number is 878-6600. Okay. I'm going to do a commercial, and then I'm going to ask Gina her opinion on kids and punishment. Stand by. Hey, when you think about life insurance or health insurance or retirement planning or employee benefits, don't forget, always remember and think about Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Dean and Todd, dedicated and responsive to your needs. All you have to do is call them at 436-4424, and they will help you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. That number again, 436-4424. Gina, are you right there? I think okay, I can tell you're just kind of harried right now. Is that right?
What's that?
You sound a little harried right now.
Yeah, I'm working on the new playlist. We're trying to get the computer up online here in the next half hour.
Well, I was just going, well, then you don't have time to visit. I was going to ask you a question if you had time. You are a football fan.
Yeah.
And I'm a football fan, but the NFL this last 2 weeks has had a lot of egg yolks all over their face, unfortunately.
Yes, they have.
But I wanted to ask you this morning your opinion on the Adrian Peterson problem, with some claiming child abuse over his using a switch to reprimand his children. Give me your ballpark thumbnail sketch of what you think was right or wrong.
I don't think he did anything wrong. That's his right as a parent to discipline his child. Let the heck out.
Yeah, but it's not going to turn out that way. Now they have suspended him. Yeah. They have said, no, he may not play for the Minnesota Vikings this next Sunday. And this might have lingering effects to where his contract might be null and void, and he may be done with the Minnesota Vikings and done with the NFL for this year. And I guess my question would be is, have they overstepped their bounds to the point where, like in the case of Ray Rice, and now in the case of Adrian Peterson, they might end up with humongous lawsuits against the NFL and some of the powers that be?
Well, you know what? I think the NFL and certain factions are overstepping their bounds. Look, we all have kids. Well, at least most. When you're a parent, you have a child. You have to be able to discipline your child to make them follow the rules. If you do not, then your kids are going to run amok. So I think he was well within his rights and well within his parental rights to discipline his child as he saw fit.
My grandfather, I remember vividly when I was 9 years old, I had hit my sister, and we were up at my grandpa's, and he went over to a tree, just like we're talking about Adrian Peterson, and ripped off a branch, and I mean gave me a what for around the buttocks area to the point where I didn't want to sit down for a whole long time.
And you probably deserved it.
I did. I did. Absolutely. And it taught me a lesson. 2 lessons. Don't hit my sister, and don't do it in front of my grandpa.
Exactly. So you learned some valuable lessons there. You learned where your boundaries were. And so as parents, sometimes, and truly, you know, it hurts us more than it hurts our kids to have to discipline them because, you know, we want them to do well and we don't like to discipline, but it's a necessary evil of being a parent and for growing up.
Yeah, but let me ask you, though, do you think, Gina, that we've turned into a fishbowl society to where all the liberals and the do-gooders now are going to critique our every move?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They want to have their nose in every single aspect of our business.
Yeah.
You've got a phone call.
I'll take it quickly. And thank you. I'm sorry I bothered you during your computer run over there.
That's okay.
All right. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Zeb.
Yes.
I was listening to you talking about that fellow that spanked his kids.
Yeah.
I personally feel that it's his responsibility to do that if he does it in the right way. I heard this morning that there was cuts and bruises on the child. You know, I'm not there to tell or not, but if there was, I think he went a little too far, but I think they're going way too far in his punishment.
Okay.
That's about all I have to say.
No, stay on the line for a minute. I want to ask you something, because I know in my case, I remember it vividly when my granddad got that kind of it was a green branch, and it had a lot of moisture and a lot of sap, and it had a lot of give. And boy, when he gave me about 4 or 5 slaps with that stick, it left a mark for quite some time. And what's the difference between what happened then, 50-some years ago, as compared to what Adrian did with his kids right now? The only thing is society has changed. So where do we draw the line?
Well, I don't know where we draw the line. I really don't, sir. I've been, you know, I don't say beat, but yeah, I've been spanked several times when I was a kid. My mom used to use a leather belt, coat hanger, 3 branches.
Yeah.
She could get her hand on because I was fast. But I'm telling you, I do believe that we should stay the heck out of it. If he noticed that he had left a bruise or left a cut, maybe next time he shouldn't have done quite so hard. But as the NFL people, as the United States government, we should just leave him alone.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, I totally agree with your comments, and also to stymie and stop a man's way of making a career income and basically stop him from making his life's work as far as being a professional football player, I don't think they have the right whatsoever.
Well, I kind of got the feeling that the media is trying to rule the world. The media and the government are trying to rule the world And by doing so, they're trying to take away the parents' privileges and the parents' rights and the parents' duties. And I think we need to stick up for ourselves and say, look, leave us alone.
I agree with you. And I want to tell you how much I appreciate your call. Thank you very, very much.
Zeb.
God bless. Have a good day.
Express my opinion.
You're welcome.
See you later. Bye.
Thank you. I think I'm going to carry this conversation over into the first hour tomorrow because it really concerns me. I'm not advocating beating or assaulting a child. But I know for a fact that my granddad and my mother, you give my mother a coat hanger and I'll guarantee you I'd run for the far corner of the house. But this is nothing new, but we're taking away parental rights and parental guidance and parental concern over the way their children are being raised or the way they behave. And I don't want the government, I don't want the NFL, I don't want anybody stepping into the homes and taking away parental responsibility to raise children in a God-fearing manner. I'll be back in about 6 minutes with Mr. Kelton Hatch. Don't miss it. Wow. Holy smokes. We were doing really good in here this morning, and we didn't have hardly any flies, and then Kelton Hatch showed up. I wonder if there's a correlation there. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch, and of course, we're brought to you by your major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, along with some of our great advertisers, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on their route service, and they'll pick your garbage up. It's gone at 734-6969. I'll tell you what, we're going to have Kelton Hatch with the Fishing Game here for this hour, so get all your questions ready to go. And, oh, by the way, Kelton came in and laid some money down on the desk and said, I'm buying. And I said, good, where are we going? And he said, we're going to the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. They're going to have chicken and bacon, baked mac and cheese today. That sounds good. And that's with veggies and super salad at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Everybody head on down. Maybe he'll buy your lunch, too. Never know. I wouldn't bet on it. Chicken and bacon, baked mac and cheese with veggies and super salad. And that's at the Chadwick Sports Grill. Great food, great people at the Chadwick. Well, good morning, Kelton Hatch.
Your nose is growing.
Are you telling me that's a Pinocchio?
I am.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw you fanning the flies before I got here.
Well, you opened the door, and there was kind of an onslaught or a rush of flies coming into the studio.
Yeah. It is a fly time of year.
Yeah, boy,
the buffalo gnats are out in full force, and so are the flies.
Have you got buffalo over at your place?
We just got the gnats.
I see.
I think
that microphone a little closer.
They're eating our horses instead of buffalo. So
it's terrible outside. And I guess it's only going to last for a couple more days, but that's a couple days too many.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not going to complain about this weather. It's just I love cool nights and warm days. It gets a little warm during the day, but what I love fall. Great time of year.
I do too, but then it extends into winter.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah, unless it's a really long fall.
And you know what I heard, and you, of course, being the omnipotent overseer of weather with the Fishing Game.
There you go.
We're supposed to have a really severe winter.
You see, and I heard exactly the opposite.
Where did you...
Farmer's Almanac. They said it was going to be below normal. So
really?
Yeah. Guess what? I don't think anybody knows.
I was talking
look into this crystal ball right here, Zeb. And tell me what you see.
A baseball. But I was talking to a meteorologist that works for the networks back in New York the other day, and he said that the weather patterns that are going up through the Gulf of Mexico and have hit like Arizona just today with more rain and everything.
They got hit again?
Yeah, they got hit again.
Ouch.
And he said that the way the weather patterns look, maybe that moisture will come right up here for the winter with snow and everything.
Man, well, it's crazy. I was in the South Hills again this last week, and it's just amazing to me to see. Well, that 7 inches of rain last month turned everything really green.
And it ripped the roads to shreds.
It did. But every one of those catch ponds up there are clear full of water.
Yeah.
Clear to the top.
Yeah.
And from the bottom of Dry Creek clear to the top, there's 3 to 5 inches of fresh green grass.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, deer and everything are just scattered from heck to breakfast. And people are just, they have to get out there and really look around. The deer are not in the typical spots.
Amen. Amen. And please, I'll say this, caller, we'll be right there. If you're going to drive up there, I don't care if you're on an ATV or a pickup, be careful, because there's some really, after that flood and erosion, the roads are bad, and there's some really bad rocks, and there's some crevices up there. You might hurt the front end of that old pickup.
You have to drive my speed, not your speed.
You got to be careful.
I just creep along.
Absolutely. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. You know what they say about the weather pattern, don't you?
What's that?
Oh, like, you don't mess with Mother Nature. She knows best.
And I agree with that.
On that.
I agree with that. Mother Nature knows best, and the good Lord has got his hand on the thermostat. Hey, hunting season, it's hard for me to believe right now, Kelton, and you've been doing this program every month for a long time. But, man, this summer went really fast. And we kind of skidded right over the top of fishing, and now we're hunting again.
Yeah, well, we're just getting old, Zeb, and the older you get, the faster things go, it seems like. I thought it would, for when he was little, it drug on forever, but no, things have gone fast. Things are going like crazy right now. It's like I said, folks are out bow hunting right now for elk and deer, and we've got a few pronghorn rifle hunts, and we've got a few elk rifle hunts going, and we've got, this last weekend I took off, went rough grouse hunting, rough and blue grouse. Had a great time, lots and lots of birds.
Really?
It's one of the best hatches I've seen this year. Sharp-tailed grouse look really good. They're not huntable yet. They don't open until October 1st, but man, we saw a lot of Sharpies when we was hunting roughies, and so it was over in eastern Idaho, but it's just amazing. I was going to bring Toby Boudreau, our new regional supervisor, and he said go elk hunting.
So, in other words, what you're telling me is kind of a slap in the face that he looked at the situation of coming here and meeting me and being on my talk show and decided to go with recreation above.
Yeah, I would have too if I had had the chance.
I know you would have.
But, it is elk season, and the elk are screaming right now, and so, full-blown rut's going on, and so this is the premier time to be out there chasing those elk, but, we got archery things going on right now.
How's it been? Have there been a lot of takings?
I've seen some good bucks, but it's like I said earlier in the show, when you get talking to people, they're seeing lots of deer. There's lots and lots of deer, but they're not finding them in their regular haunts, because typically this time of year things are brown and dry.
That's
and
right.
Deer get pressed to certain areas of the better habitat.
Yeah.
In more of these riparian zones, or higher up on the mountain where things are still green. The whole mountain's green now.
Well, just the other day, Deanna and I took off on the ATVs, and right up here, just as you go off towards Dry Creek, I mean, holy smokes, all of a sudden I looked to my left, and there's about a half a dozen deer running right at us.
And it's crazy, because you've got the green grass. I mean, right down here at the base of Dry Creek, where it's usually just brown and just stone brown. I mean, terrible. There's 3 inches of fresh, green, soft, tender grass, and so things are all scattered all over the place. But we got forest grouses going on right now. Dove season's going on. We have our youth waterfowl hunt. There's a 2-day youth waterfowl hunt that opens September 27th and 28th. So if you got a kid that wants to get into it, go to the regs, and you can get the shooting hours, and they can shoot full limits. They just have to have their migratory bird permit. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember that age is 15. They goes up to 15, I think, for the waterfowl hunt. But check the regulations on that. But that's September 27th and 28th. October 1st, sharp-tail season opens. Like I mentioned, we have a season over in southeastern Idaho, or if you get across, 84, you can start hunting sharp-tail. Youth pheasant hunt is for a week, and that's October 4th through the 9th, and so you can get your kids out hunting. Then you got controlled deer that's on the 5th. You've got general deer hunting that opens on the 10th, and you get your general pheasant season that opens on the 18th. So, I mean, every week you've got 1 to 2 to 3 things opening up.
Yeah.
So it's time to get out there. And
Let me ask you a question there, Kelton, and we were not kidding earlier when we were talking about the roadways. With that rain, that 5 inches deluge that we had earlier in the month of August, it did really, like, if they're going to go hunting up in the South Hills in Unit 54, they'd better be very, very wary, because some of the road areas are washed out to the point where there are huge rocks and crevices in the road. Are they planning on going up and grading that at all, or what do you know?
I don't know. Some of the roads I've been seeing Forest Service and BLM guys out on working right now, but I mean, you got hundreds of miles of roads. Typically, they get them taken care of earlier in the year. There's minimal budgets, so people have to be really cautious up there.
That was a hard rain.
Well, yeah, whenever you get 5 inches in 2 days around here, and then I think we had 7 or 8 inches, and we got over the month, and there's a lot of deep ruts up there, like you said, and so people do have to be a little more cautious when they're driving around.
Go slow.
Yeah.
So we're in the middle of, well, not in the middle, but we're in the beginning fringes of all the hunting seasons, and they're going to last all the way till the end of November, basically.
November, December.
December.
You got bird season to go clear to January 15th, and so
it should be a heck of a year.
Oh,
really?
Bird numbers are up from what we're seeing. Our roadside surveys we just got completed. Randy hasn't got the full report completed as yet, but just basic anecdotal information that I kind of gleaned from looking at everybody's different reports is pheasant numbers are about where they were. We're not seeing a huge increase, but those could have been skewed a little bit because we had, when we did them the last week of August, that's typically when we do the roadside surveys, there's still a ton of barley and wheat and alfalfa is set back, and so there's a lot of crops in the field, and typically that's where you see those roosters or in the hens, and so it could be skewed a little bit on that, especially when we start talking about the chucker numbers. It looks like we had tremendous hatches on chuckers, and California quail look really good. Hungarian partridge looks really good, and so I would anticipate pheasants being up a little bit over last year, but our information isn't showing that. But I think it's just going to be a tremendous, tremendous year. And the fishing, I know you like fishing.
I do. I've really, for the last 7 years, looked forward to McGargle giving me a call and going fishing, but that hasn't happened.
No.
And it probably never will.
I think his kids are just right to that age that they pretty well are all consuming. If he's not at work, he's with his kids. And so I think maybe as soon as those kids are gone, maybe he'll give you a call.
I should be 92 by then.
The fishing right now, I've got a lot of friends that aren't hunters that are anglers, and they love this time of year because everybody else goes hunting, and they get to go angling, and
well, water conditions should be excellent.
Well, they are now. We finally got all the brown stuff out of the water from all the rain.
Brown stuff.
The dirt. They got washed off the side of the mountain. And so the water's clear. The walleye fishing's starting to pick up. The trout is starting to pick up. We start getting these cooler temperatures. Fish start getting a little more active. They know that it's going to get cold. And so, things are really going really well right now with the angling.
Any reports on any big fish taken, like out of Magic and Salmon and that place?
No, but we've had a couple instances of sturgeon poaching.
Now, I didn't see the whole story in its entirety, but sturgeon poaching, they just kind of left the carcass laying right on the sand, right?
Well, yeah, you don't want to get caught with one, and a lot of times we have a certain element of folks out there that it's tough because those fish, we do not have a naturally spawning population of sturgeon in the Snake River. Sturgeon, again, to give you guys a history on them, I mean, they used to migrate clear to the ocean. And because of the dams, we've got these isolated populations of sturgeon in between each of the dams, and there's like 5 or 6 dams running through the Magic Valley.
So like from let's just say from the Shoshone Falls back to the west, where would they be concentrated probably?
Well, there's
up to Hagerman?
Well, yeah, but there's several dams going down through there, and so you've got these isolated populations of fish. Idaho Power, they stock fish in those areas, but we just don't have naturally spawning. The only place we have naturally spawning sturgeon anymore is down by CJ Strike.
I see.
There's a big enough section of river, but they used to migrate clear from Shoshone Falls, just like the salmon, clear back to the ocean.
Do they have large populations of sturgeon in the Columbia River?
They do. They actually allowed catch and keep until about a year ago, and now they've reduced the number. You can still get permits, I guess, to keep them in Oregon.
Because of a lack of numbers, or what?
Yeah, lack of spawning numbers.
How do they count those fish? Do they send scuba divers down there, or what?
You know, I think a lot of it is once they catch them, they'll put monitors in them, and they've got enough. They put chips in them, and when they're migrating out, they can read those chips and understand how many fish are moving in and out. And I don't know all the ways that they monitor that population, because
do they need real deep water?
They have a tendency to live in deep holes.
In holes,
and they eat a lot of other trout. They're really a cool fish, but I mean, they can live to be over 100 years old. It's really a popular sport around here to catch them, and so we get a lot of people out. But that's just one of those populations we're really concerned on.
What do you use for bait?
Fish. 12-inch, 8 to 10-inch fish, 12-inch fish, on a big circle hook with a great big, like, half-pound weight. That's what Doug ought to take you is when we go out and do sturgeon surveys. I like to see you hook onto
I would go. I'd buy the gas. I'd do it. I just want to go see that.
Yeah,
I really would.
It's pretty cool.
I bet it is.
And they put on quite a battle when you get a 6 or a 9-foot fish on the end of a pole.
I would assume.
And so,
holy smokes.
So, but
you know, you can tell McGargle that.
I will.
And then I'll look forward to another 7-year hiatus of not going anywhere.
A lot of people are probably questioning right now when I said they only go to Salmon Falls Creek, but they have planted sturgeon above Salmon Falls Reservoir, Salmon Falls Falls. So there is some going up to American Falls Reservoir now too, but none of them are a natural population anymore.
Okay. What about wolves and grizzly observations?
Well, every year, we know that we have over 100 packs of wolves in Idaho, but part
100 packs. Okay.
Somewhere between 90 and 100. But, and there may be more. That's just a number that we're using, so I don't want to get into a debate on the numbers we have right now. But
how many to a pack do you consider?
You know, it just depends on the area, what their primary prey. But I mean, they can go anywhere from 5 to 9 to 10. You know, and so you've got a few. But what we're doing, we have a petition to be delisted. We're on a 5-year. They're watching us for 5 years, making sure that we're managing wolf populations. Well, part of that is that we have to prove that we have 15 to 20 breeding packs every year. And then to be a breeding pack, you have to have at least 2 adults and 2 pups.
I thought that the agreement we had with the environmentalists was...
I know, this has changed. As we know,
they keep changing the rules.
But this has been set for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
3 years now. And so, but our issue right now is funding to get out. I mean, you have to verify that the pups are born to the adults, and then by December we have to verify that there's still 2 pups and 2 adults in the pack. Mm-hmm. And if there's not, they're not considered a pack or a breeding pair anymore. And we have to have documentation that we've seen, videotaped, or taken pictures of this group of wolves to be able to prove that this is a breeding pair. And we're setting it right now about 20 pairs that we have documented, but breeding packs, but we're going into hunting season, and we just need to get more verification, because if we get any of those pups killed in some of those packs, it could threaten our complete delisting status. And so it's really crucial that sportsmen, when they're out there, if they see wolves, to tell us, get GPS locations, and get a hold of us so that we know where they're at.
You know, I'm going to say this. This is Zeb.
I know, it's crazy.
No, but let me just say this comment, because I don't want to hang the blame on you. I'll just say this. To me, the Fish and Game has got a lot better things to do with managing wildlife that is a profit, quote unquote, for the state of Idaho, deer, elk, etc., instead of being so overprotective of predators.
Well, we're not being overprotective. We got a very liberal hunting season and a trapping season. season. We just changed things so you can trap them down here in Unit 45 and 43 and down here in the valley. And so we've got the hard part for us is just the monitoring. It takes a lot of manpower. I mean, when you have to think that you locate the wolves and you have to hike into their dens and sit on dens for a few days to see if pups come out, and then you have to document that clear till January 1 to prove that was a breeding pair. It's fairly labor-intensive.
A lot of time, labor, and quite frankly, I'll say this is Zeb speaking, waste of money.
And so, so sportsmen are out and they see grizzly bears or wolves.
What about the population of the grizzlies?
They continue to grow.
I was talking to somebody the other day up in the Chalice area, and they said they're, using their words, a bunch this year.
And I don't know, I don't follow the grizzly bear issue as much because we haven't petitioned them for delisting. I know that they've got a lot of radio-collared ones over on the Wyoming, Idaho, Montana corner over by Jellystone, and we're just, when people are out and about, we're just trying to get documentation on where they're seeing wolves. I mean, we got enough satellite, not wolves, grizzlies. We got enough satellite collars on some bears over there. We're finding them as far south as Soda Springs.
Have you ever seen one?
Grizz?
Yeah.
Lots.
You used to be up in Montana quite a bit, though.
When I was in Montana and Alaska, I worked for, and we killed them up in Alaska.
They're a dangerous breed of cat, aren't they?
Yeah, there's more injuries due to black bears, but there's a higher population of black bears as part of it. I don't know. I'm more concerned about, I don't know, this is just me. It's different when you're up in Alaska and they don't see humans a ton. Grizzly bears have a lot of different reactions.
So they're pretty inquisitive?
Well, they're usually pretty frightened. They'll take off. I mean, I had grizzlies come into my camp all the time on the rivers and stuff like that, but where you kind of got habituated to them. But I mean, around here it seems like every bear we have gets poked and prodded, and we're studying them and stuff like that. And they get around so many people because I mean they're in heavily populated areas. We're getting them up in the Yak country right there on the Montana-Idaho border in the Panhandle. Lots of people moving into that back area. Chicken coops and little farms are popping up, and so we have a lot of issues with them getting into that. I mean, anything's after a free meal.
Do you find that most sportsmen, most hunters, and most people that go camping, etc., and fishing, they really are unaware that they're creating their own problems on not knowing how to store their food or where to store their food or how to set up their camp and that type of thing?
You bet, and I think a lot of these new people that are moving back into the backcountry or getting their little vacation homes also run into that. They want to have their barbecue grill sitting out by their back porch, or they want to leave the garbage out all night, or they want to feed the chickens out in the yard and things like that. And all those things are bait for, chickens are bait for dozens of things. And, that's, but grizzly bears, they have major issues with the grizzly bears up in Montana and in northern Idaho with chicken coops. Because there's just lots of grains and things like that around them. So, but just we need people to report that type of stuff when they're out and about. It would be highly well.
What's the biggest grizz you ever saw?
The biggest one we probably ever harvested was about 10 foot 8 inches tall from the tip of the nose to the tip of their tail, and then from paw to paw width, and so squared out. But no, they can be fairly big. I mean, and so
they can be
in
anything
Idaho
they want to be.
Yeah, they can. In Idaho and up in Montana, I haven't seen any much over 8 foot, but
really,
they can be pretty big critters.
Oh my! Hey, Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fish and Game, and questions are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Lennox Home Comfort Systems through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're offering rebates on qualified Lennox Home Comfort Systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps. Your family will enjoy the comfort. Call Ramsey's today at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric, you bet. They sell warm winters and cool summers. We are going to take a little break and send it back over to our main studios, and then we'll be back. We got a whole bunch more to talk about. We'll take one quick call, and then we'll send it to the studio. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I just had a question for Kelton. Appreciate the opportunity, Zeb. Good work. We appreciate you. Kelton, I just wonder how the area over there at Sublette was this year after we hit it last year with so many hunters.
You know, that's a great question, and I know that's a real tender spot for a lot of folks around here because I grew up on the other side of the hills over there, and I remember everybody putting in for controlled hunts over in the Sublette area and things like that. It's amazing to me for as many hunters as we have that we're running about a 32 to 36% harvest success, which is huge. That's one of the highest producing units in the state that we have right now for just a general unit, 43, 56 in some of those areas. And everything that we're seeing just incredible fawn recruitment over there. And numbers seem to be really, really good again this year from everything that we've been able to see. That area, when you're getting precip, is a producer of deer, and I really anticipate another great hunting season over in that area as well as all our other areas.
And that includes Hagler.
What was that?
Does it include Hagler?
Yes.
Okay. All right, caller. Thank you. I got a hard break. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll be back with more with Kelton Hatch in just a minute with the Idaho Fishing Game. Don't you go away.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Have you noticed how laid back and kind of almost sleepy, ready to climb into geezer chairs we must be this morning? It's not, neither one of us have a lot of enthusiasm this morning.
Yeah, you're usually, well, I can't say.
I'm usually poking fun at you and everything and making fun about your job and the way you do it and McGargle and everybody else, but I've been very polite and it's bothering me.
Well, it's been a pleasant change. So,
what does ASA stand for?
Artificially Simulated Animal. I know. It's a government. But
wasn't there a picture in the paper here recently of a artificially simulated animal, a deer standing there?
There was.
Yeah. Tell us about that.
Well, I just wanted to tell folks we'll be using them again this year.
Oh, dear.
We use them on coyotes. We use some. The reason we use these ASAs is because we get people shooting from roads in situations that is unsafe, near ranch houses, farmhouses, on busy roads. We had a pheasant a few years ago over in American Falls. They set up on a busy intersection out behind a no trespassing sign, and 3 vehicles opening day stopped and shot at it.
No, my.
And so it's just we have to be really careful where we put them because it's amazing where people stop and shoot.
You were on the air once, oh gosh, it's been 2 years ago. Wasn't there a case over at Raft River or Malta area where they shot the living daylights out of it?
That was actually last year. We had the ASA up for 3 hours.
Yeah.
We gave out 10 citations and another 14 warnings in 3 hours, and we couldn't set it up fast enough to take it down before the next group was shooting at it. And it was really a sad deal.
They didn't shoot at it while you were setting it back up again.
Well, we've had people that have actually will pull over. And the sad thing about this, Zeb, is, we get talking about deer over in Sublette, and granted there is a lot of opportunity over there, but this was a doe.
Oh, my.
And youth are allowed to shoot does, but these 10 citations that we gave were all adults shooting at the doe with their kids either sleeping in the back seat or standing on the road shooting with them. And it's like, no. This is an opportunity for kids, not their dads, their grandpas, their cousins. This is for the kids. And
they abuse it to the point where you could shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. And so that we'll be out using them again this year. Just it's just a way to help us. We get a lot of calls from ranchers and stuff. They'll have a herd of cows, along the edge of a road, and deer will be running through it, and people will pull over and start shooting at them. So usually we don't do it with the cows still in the pasture, but in those general areas, if we've got trespassing issues, we'll use a small buck or we'll use a doe or something like that, elk, If it depends on what hunting, and we'll do it at night. We had a spotlighter the other night coming out of the hills. We had a deer, and we'd been getting complaints of night rifle shooting, but a guy came out of the hills at night and caught our ASA in his headlights and jumped out and shot it with his bow.
Oh, my goodness.
Still with his headlights, and it's like...
And then he heard the clink, and he goes, oops.
Yeah, and so, I don't know. It's one of those management tools that we try to use.
Unbelievable. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I have a question I'd like to hopefully have answered. I don't once in a while. I hunt and fish my whole life in Idaho, and I put in for elk, and I've only drawn a couple times. But if I had $5,000 or $6,000, I could hunt every year in the hunt that I want to through an outfitter. Mm-hmm. Anyway, my question is, you can have grandparents put in and draw for these areas and then give them to their grandkids to go hunt. That also lessens my chances of hunting in that area. I just wondered if there was any chance of making a law that those grandparents would have to be with them. And I'll just hang up and let you answer.
Okay, that's a good question. Thank you.
That
Go
is
ahead.
a good question. The easiest thing to do on that, sir, is our commissioner in this area, his name is Mark Dorr. And the commissioners are the ones that typically set the rules and regulations on that. And when we have sportsmen meeting, I think that's a great opportunity right there to bring something like that up to them, because I do see that as an issue for a lot of people, because they've got certain areas that they really want to bow hunt, and the drawing odds, the South Hills right now, just for a general deer tag, I moved here 12 years ago. I'm kind of a newbie to the area, but it was 1 and 2, 1 and 3 drawing odds. Now it's 1 and 7, and so I know that hunts are getting harder. But please bring that to our commission or bring it to our sportsmen's meetings, and we can talk about it.
I think it's an excellent question. Excellent. It's almost like by doing it the way they are with grandparents and then passing those on to the grandkids, it's almost kind of like people getting a handicap sticker and giving it to somebody else to go and park so they don't have to walk as far.
I know the reasoning for that on those youth tags is just to get these. We're losing a lot of our youth because they can't draw a tag, and they're not getting out hunting and stuff like that. But when you try to make things better for one group, it typically makes it worse for another group. And so I definitely understand.
We got a caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, you two.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Kelton, check Zeb's temperature and his pulse. Make sure he's okay. He just ain't the same guy.
No.
In here anymore.
Well, that's why the flies are in here. They're circling the kill.
But anyway, it's a shame that they had to waste that sturgeon meat. If they're going to take it, for hell's sakes, keep it and don't just waste it.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing's just frustrating because for a fish to get that size, a 10-foot sturgeon will take 100 years.
Oh, my.
So,
really?
Yeah, and a 6-foot sturgeon's 20 plus. And so, that fish put a lot of effort into getting that big.
Well, look at Al. It took him 81 years to get as big as he is.
That's one.
Okay, see you later, Al.
Give him 3, right?
God bless you. Let's see, ASA, we talked about landowners, hunter, and public land respect. All right, now you're in a subject that I'm going to just say something. I was up there a couple of days ago and in the South Hills, and if I catch anybody throwing garbage out and I get your license number, I'm going to prosecute. I'm sick and tired of seeing the public lands just absolutely littered with Twinkie wrappers. I'm fed up with it.
Oh, it is. After that fire up there, it blew me away how much garbage had been in the sagebrush.
It's unbelievable.
And stuff. The new garbage, because most of the old garbage burned up.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, it blew me away.
Why do people just go up there and treat it like it's an open garbage dump?
I don't know. That's why I put ASA right next to that, because I truly believe that people that shoot illegally at animals like that also are the perpetrators of cutting fences.
And they can't call themselves sportsmen.
Well, no. We had a study once, and this came out in this came out in a report kind of the wrong way, but there's some train of thought that feels that 50% of the animals killed in Idaho are killed illegally.
Oh my gosh!
Or as many as are as many are killed legally or killed illegally.
Oh.
And it doesn't mean extra animals like people poaching at night, but it means dad shooting moms or dad shooting the kids, or we're shooting from the roads, or we're shooting the wrong sex of animal for the tag that we have, or killing an animal in a different unit than we have a permit for. And all of this is tied together. It just depends on the code of ethics we as humans live by. And so that's the only thing that I try to preach on here, Zeb, and I know that you're a pulpit pounder on this all the way,
I am. I enjoy, my wife and I enjoy being in the backcountry. We enjoy what God has given this beautiful state as far as beautiful nature to enjoy. And if there's anything, and if you're listening out there and you're guilty of this, and you go, yeah, I'll tell you what, if I get a chance to get license numbers, I don't care what it is, I'll turn them in, because I don't want to have to see all the Twinkie wrappers, all the beer cans, all the Pepsi cans. Why in the world can't they, like we had our outfitting business back in the 80s, pack it in, pack it out?
Mm-hmm. No, but I totally agree. And treat landowners with respect.
Amen.
A lot of our animals live on private land. And so at some time of the year, so we just need to have that good code of ethics and live by it, and it's just a good time of year to remind people of that.
But yet you know as well as I do that in the next couple of weeks, going all the way through hunting season, if you'll go up in the South Hills and go a certain way every time, you'll see an abundance of trash of people just don't care.
Yeah, you do, and it's really frustrating because it just, and not all of it's hunters. Sometimes it's just weekend warriors out farting around, but it's just one of those good reminders, kind of make things better than when you got there.
Absolutely.
Leave it better.
Access Yes Guides. What do you mean there?
Well, I brought you this, Zeb. I brought you a present, so don't say everybody. I brought him a present.
Oh, my goodness.
It's the Access Yes Guide, and what the Access Yes Guide is a pile of maps on each of the units in the Magic Valley region.
I appreciate that.
And each of those, it kind of gives you a map of the area, like Unit 57 right here.
Yeah.
And it's got the Aramo Corp lands that are in the Access Yes program. These are all the places that Aramo Ranches opens up to the public to hunt on.
Okay.
And then you can go down here to, the Rockland Valley, and you've got the Rockland Valley West ranches, and you've got the Ralph's Loop Ranch and the Lazy R Ranch that people let people in on. People that purchase those super tag opportunities, that's where our money goes, is in this 71-page book that shows all these different pieces of land that you can hunt. We have these at the office at different local sporting goods stores, so go pick them up. It gives you what they're good for, whether it's pheasants or whether it's big game. Some of them you have to call in advance, most of them, but it gives a lot of opportunity. It gives you different ways to get into the woods, so just wanted to kind of tell you about that. And
I just happened to hit that one right off the bat.
The Dry Cattle Association, they've got a bunch of their land opened up for.
And besides that, these are good maps to use up there.
Yeah, I like to have another BLM or Forest Service map along the side of them, but it does kind of, if worse comes to worse, you could find your way out of the South Hills with it.
Or know your directions of going north and south.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Caller, go ahead, you're on the air. Talk to me, caller.
I guess throw my little fit in there about the draw. I've phoned in the Fish and Game a few times, and they say that the point system is not a fair deal. Well, according to the way that things are happening, people haven't drawed in 10, 15, 20 years now. So how can you tell me that the point system would be a fair deal?
All right, we'll answer that on the air. Thank you for your call. I do appreciate it. Kelton, if you would, please.
No, I appreciate that phone call. The point system is a controversial deal. A lot of the surrounding states have that. We actually, if you go to YouTube, just type in YouTube and then go Idaho points system or draws. We have 4 different YouTube videos on that, going through mathematically on how those draw systems work and things like that. I understand that, just in a real brief nutshell, on some of the hunts, I think we're going to end up seeing some changes here in the next year. I know that we're getting questions and stuff out to people. If it's over so many people applying, we may put those into once-in-a-lifetime chances. We may change some of those early bull hunts into trophy hunts, where you've got tons and tons of people putting in for them. And we're going to try to do something to improve the drawing odds. The tough thing about a point system is, like just our neighbors to the south here down in Utah, I've got a lot of friends that have put in for 15 years and have never hunted an elk, even with the point system. And once they draw, which may take them 15, 16, 18 years with a point system, then they have to start over. And so they're behind the curve on the number of points. I like using the incident. I've been putting in for sheep in Utah for 12 years. After 12 years and 12 points, I still had a 0.01% chance of drawing a sheep.
Holy cow.
In Idaho, my worst drawing odds on sheep was 4%, just because we don't have the point system. I still put in for 13 years before I drew, 14 years. Yeah. And some people never do draw just because of the luck of the draw. It's one of those tough things. Those coveted tags are hard to come by, and the way I've ended up doing it is I just go to archery hunting, and then I put in for my trophy permits, and that's the only thing I put in for anymore. But it's a tough deal.
Okay. We've got a weather forecast to get in right now, and, of course, the weather this hour brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And, boy, oh, boy, remember this number, because they can help you locally own custom meat processor for over 20 years. 324-7657. You will not find a better butcher shop for your prized wild game either at Scarrows Meats. 324-7657, selling taste one bite at a time. Here now is the weather.
Looks like it's going to be slightly breezy for today. Winds out of the southeast, right around 7 miles an hour. On the warm side as well, high of 93. Tonight expect an overnight low near 60. Tomorrow, winds picking up out of the west, right around 11 miles an hour. Still partly cloudy, cooling down to about 82 with an overnight low near 55. Friday, pretty much the same. Partly cloudy skies, high of 82.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to have a little family gathering, kind of an early fall, kind of a thank you for a great summer type thing, get a marinated tri-tip for any occasion from Scarrows Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. They are selling taste one bite at a time.
You'll have a lot of friends if you buy one of those.
Those are so good. It's like eating candy, really.
It is.
Oh, my. Hey, Sportsman's Breakfast, when's that going to be?
You know, Zeb, I got to dig through my pile of papers because I brought you your own personal invitation.
Personal invitation? I'm humbled.
Right there.
Look at that.
The 6th annual Magic Valley Sportsman's Breakfast.
That's the day after my birthday.
Well, we'll call it your birthday.
I'll be there.
Birthday breakfast.
I'm going to be there. It's on a Friday. I can go.
It is at 6:30 a.m.
I'll be there.
Okay.
I get up at 3:45.
Okay. We'll have pancakes and eggs for you.
Are you cooking?
Probably.
Maybe next year.
Well, I always cook. But we're just going to talk about hunting seasons. We're inviting you. Don't say there's nothing free. There's a free breakfast over there. And so just come on over, have breakfast, talk about issues that you have. That'd be a good time to bring up that gentleman that called in about, the grandparents putting in for control. The commissioner will be there.
Right.
We're going to just talk about season forecasts. We'll have staff on hand. So swing on into the Magic Valley office. We're 2 miles north of the Flying J on Highway 93.
Absolutely.
On the east side of the road. Zeb's got that. We'll leave that here, and you can do us a PSA on it every once in a while.
I would be more than happy to. It's the 6th annual Magic Valley Sportsman's Breakfast, Friday, October 3rd at 6:30 in the morning at the Idaho Fish and Game Jerome Regional Office, and pancakes and eggs, and the regional staff will provide updates and season forecasts for the Magic Valley. There you go.
There you go. You, see, you got that radio voice.
Yeah. I'll be sure and do that many, many times.
Well, good.
But you're going to be one of the cooks.
Well, I'll be one of the cooks or one of the BSers.
Chef Boyar Kelton.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. No, it's fun. We get to talk to people about what we love, hunting and fishing. So,
you know, I love the great outdoors. And whether I'm hunting, fishing, or just going up to be alone and get away from the telephones, I love it, man. And this time of the year, with all the water and all the grass growth and everything else, and the leaves are starting to change, where could you find a prettier place to live?
Well, you can't.
Really?
Well, it was kind of weird last week. I've been having teeth issues, you know, and so I went in and
brush them once in a while, maybe you'd take care of them.
Well, that way, then the flies will fly away. No.
It didn't leave here.
I had a crown, and it was ugly.
Gina, did you hear about Gina? She's had root canals. She's had all kinds of problems. She had to miss a couple of days because, like, her jaw fell apart and all this kind of stuff.
I figured she was just applying for another job.
No, I mean, you and her, boy, I tell you make a dentist happy.
There you go. We buy him a new car, but you know, I was up in the hills. I took off even with the issue. My wife says, "Are you going to have any fun?" That was still the most relaxing time because, you know, if you got to be in pain, you might as well be somewhere you like it.
Yeah.
You know, like the country.
A bar.
Yeah, bar. Yeah, you a bar. I don't attend bars, Zeb. I just go up and hang out in the hills. And so, but it was just gorgeous. The roughies were just having a ball, and it was just awesome. And there's nothing better. Have you ever eaten ruffed grouse?
I don't think I have. Really good. I understand you're a pretty good cook, though.
I love to cook. I do.
A wild game cook.
I love to cook. I cook, about anything that crawls, slithers, flies.
Now, I know a lot of people have complained over there at Pleasant Valley Golf Course that you're out skinning bear and everything in the backyard.
Yeah, well, we skin quite a bit there in the front yard. And I know that we probably had a few weird looks at us, but, you know, I don't know. Every once in a while you just have to... I don't know. Every once in a while we cook up a little beaver when Carson traps a beaver, and maybe a muskrat now and again a little bit.
What's that black cloud? Well, it's flies over that beaver over there.
Yeah. Well, we take good care of the meat.
Hey, hang on. I got to pay some bills while we still have some bills to pay. Don't forget, great big tire sale going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All the tires for all your types of driving, whether it's on your car, your pickup, your SUV. You be sure and stop in and check it out at all 7 locations. You better believe it. Lifetime tire and mileage care, peace of mind tire protection at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And the best in brake service. And if you bounce that ball one more time, I'm going to take it away from you, Kelton. Best in brake service and front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this, and the best in service from these fine folks. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers.
I do appreciate having squishy toys over here.
We have got, and I want the public to know this, my wife went to the store and bought a whole bunch of these little squishy toys and wrote the name Kelton on all of them, like we've got a little baby in a crib over here playing with all these squishy toys.
Well, you make me nervous.
I make you nervous.
But no, give them a hand, something to fidget with.
What are we going to be talking about next month in October? I would imagine probably pheasant season, etc.
We will. We'll have gone through the first week of our general rifle and deer hunts, and we'll have a really good idea on what's going on out there. You know, we're going to hit that up a little bit. We'll probably hit on the wolves a little bit. You know, just on how
when does that season open?
It's open. No. I actually had a buddy that he called one in the other day and got it at. This is a really, really, really good time if a person's interested in hunting wolves. Is right now before the general rifle season, because once general rifle season gets going, people start shooting at them quite a bit more, and because when they just bump into them. But he called his into with a predator call. He called it into 6.5 yards.
6 and 18 feet?
18 feet and shot it. And so it was pretty cool. He was pretty stoked. He's been putting in some serious amount of time, and so to try to get a wolf, and that I think he's only got I think he's got one more animal to harvest, and he'll have killed all the big game animals in Idaho.
Really?
He hasn't drawn his moose yet. And so, but it's a good time to get out and do a little wolf calling.
All right, we got a quick call. 30 seconds left on the program. Real fast, go.
Okay, I was just wondering, a few years ago they had a depredation hunt, and I went on it, and the people that was complaining about the wildlife, they wouldn't let you step on their property to hunt, and I'm wondering how can you pay claims to people that won't let you hunt to get rid of their problem.
All right, we'll answer that on the court real quick.
They still have private property rights, and they own their land, and so they can open it to who they wish. We had the depredation hunt around the edges of it, so when those animals came off, we was trying to haze them, but it's just a private property rights issue.
All right, Kelton, I hate to rush you through, but we're out of time, and we'll look forward to having you back next month. Now, is there a chance that we might get Toby Boudreau, the regional supervisor, next month?
I'm hoping so. I know he wants to come on here, but he's had so many meetings. He had a 3-4 day window here that he's able to get out, and he loves to archery elk hunt. And I'm personally glad we've got a regional supervisor that likes to hunt and fish.
Absolutely.
I think that's what we need, and Jerome was that way, and it's nice to have Toby. He's an Alaskan boy and loves to hunt and fish. So.
All right, Kelton Hatch, Idaho Fish and Game. See you next month, and we'll see everybody tomorrow morning at 8:06 right here on Zeb at the Ranch. And God bless you. The way things were are the way things ought to be. Thanks, Gina.